Hello everyone, this is Dansparce and welcome back to Let's Play Pillars of Eternity. We just stayed at the inn and we got a crazy vision of a dwarf lady. So we should probably go check that out, right? So let's go. I tried checking the dwarf lady beforehand, but I guess I have to do it now. I had to have my vision first. Let's go this way. There's a weird noise. Oh, there she is. Caladra de Baranzi. Let's talk to Ader, see if he has anything else to say. Nope, nothing else to say. Caldera de Baranzi. The squat, distended body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bow that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings. There's a tepid warmth to it, and you feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it, not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. Oh. Is this the tutorial for all the visions that I've been doing in town? Reach out for the woman. You take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out toward the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with a new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanging woman. And when you open them again, she is staring at you with eyes clouded in a milky fog. Her body still swaying in a wind you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you. Have you come
here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
Am I imagining this?
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy, then. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I, wherever here may be.
I need to understand something that's happened to me. She nods, a look of pity on her face, as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there. You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
What's a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair, and here we are visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times.
You know, for someone who got hanged, you seem very chipper.
Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either living or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how. A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder!
What do you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
She smiles at you reassuringly, fanning out a tuft of long whiskers that sprout from one of her cheeks. Ew.
You should see old Meerwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
I think I survived a Beowick. Do you know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me, no?
You said souls break apart over time?
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. No. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
I want to know something about you.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
Who are you?
And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
What happened to you? She laughs, the rasping choke cackle escaping between rows of buttery yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down with each spasm. Seeing your blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer. Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Tell me.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord, she is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
What's an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us? The best? inspirations, miracle workers. My parents were soul twins, miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other, turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
I had other questions.
Of course, dear.
Apparently not. Very well.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Aleph looks at you through narrowed eyes. Are you right? You seem lost just now. I'm a watcher. His arched eyebrows recede into his hood. Well, that is interesting. He gives you a sly grin, and I expect that explains how you survived the Beowwick, In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're traveling together, it's probably wise for us to share these things. Do you know anything about watchers? Only that they're rare and that they seem to have unique insights into certain soul conditions. He coughs, as you just demonstrated. Let's continue on. Okay, so we have our new mission, which is to go to a place. Journal. Quests. Travel to Caed Nua. Travel to the Black Meadow. Alright, so we have to go there anyway, because she said it's past the Black Meadow. But I want to see what's down
17
here.
and a half.
What?
17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
I'm sorry?
The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
What are you talking about?
The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last.
Is that what you people do for fun around here?
Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
What makes you think I was interested in the dwarf woman? He looks at you a moment, his brow arched, his smirk broadens.
I was smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
Impossible, I don't drool half as much. Ha, so you're already familiar. Still, you'll have to forgive my curiosity. Around here we prefer to turn a blind eye to our dead. Do you know what a watcher is?
Careful, friend. Best not use that word round here. Could be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be. Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
You think you're going to be hanged?
The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
The war? Saints' War, only one in my lifetime. Fella decides he's the living incarnation of Aothos, overthrows Red Saras, marches on Deerwood, so we gave him Deerwood and hello. What's a Deerwood and hello?
We blew him up.
Who is Aothos? God of Rebirth and Redemption, formerly anyhow. Maybe they call him something different where you're from. I had other questions. Why was your headman hanged? Got involved. Radric sent men down here the other day, said they had it on good authority someone in town was working with Kolsk, plotting Radric's overthrow, said if he didn't come forward right then and there, they'd hang every last one of us. No one was coming forward, so Swithin, that's my headman, he steps up and says him. They took him at his word. He sighs and shakes his head, his eyes fixed on the tree. Bound to happen sooner or later. It's not for plotting against Raedric, then from protecting me. Who's Kolsk? Someone who got tired of all the hangings. He's on the run now. Probably will be till they catch him. What does your town have against you?
Pick the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Aethys worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea. Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, and then I did too. But, he didn't make it back. After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me. Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Raedric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
Alice glances at you and lowers his voice. You can see why I was eager to leave. If you're next to be hanged, what are you still doing here? He gives a half smile, drinking mostly. Point of fact, I'm on my way out. Just haven't figured out where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out there that don't think Waidwin's legacy started with Waidwin. We could travel together. Where are you headed? Someplace called Caed Nua. There's an old watch there who might be able to help me.
Seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say Watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before. Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger, and a strange one at that. But, truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
There's a fine reason if I ever heard one.
All right, then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
Ray! Got a new guy. Let's check this guy out. So what is he? He seems to be some sort of fighter. How do I check my thing? Character, there we go. He's a 3rd level fighter, a 3rd level wizard, 3rd level cipher. Okay, meadow folk, wood elf, savannah folk. And he has a saber and a medium shield, as well as a warbow. Do I have anything? No, I sold everything. Right. Oh, I should probably give myself these reflex things. Does that not change? Oh, it does slightly. Very slightly. Changes the color, I guess, a little bit. Okay. So we got ourselves a warrior, right? A fighter. Good, okay. Let's check my timer. 7 minutes. Before we head out on our grand adventure, I wanted to just go down here. I wanted to see if there's something down here. And it might be useful to have him along since he was a... Who the hell's Wertan? A rising sun and 3 dawn stars, symbol of Aethys. Haven't been in here for must be 5, 6 years. Wertan. A man lies resting against the wall, lit by dim illumination of the fading sconces. He has a gaunt, fox-like aspect, and his face is pale and damp with sweat. One arm is held loosely against his side, sleep soaked with blood. He gives you an anxious glance as you near, his features twisted with pain. Have a care if you mean to go in. He casts a quick look towards the doorway to his left. This place is not so empty as I thought. Paying your respects, Aothesian. He manages a pain grin. A little risky, isn't it? Think of what the townsfolk would say. Safer down here than up there, even with the rats as big as they are. The sample isn't what it used to be, probably for the best, times being as they are. I'm no looter, if that's what you're thinking. Not one of his types either. Just wanted to do some good luck. Got my arm clawed up for it. Maybe you'd have better luck. Better luck with what? The man points a finger upward. These ruins around us used to be Temple of Aethos, scattered god, a grand temple at that. Its worshippers would come from all over the Deerwood, from Braidsaris even. Not so much from Braidsaris these days. Until the war, of course. Even then, you'd get some of the stubborn ones, the ones that couldn't get it through their heads that their god was dead and gone. Go on. Once the legacy started, Lord Raetrick decided he'd been too lenient on the Aethosians. He had his people go in and put them to the sword, left them down there, buried under a heap of rock. After that, Raetrick ordered the temple sealed. It's been years like that, up until recently. Lord Raetrick hopes that if we rededicate the temple to a living god, then we'll be forgiven and the legacy will end, see? But until then, the temple is as you see it, unguarded. That's where you come in. Those priests, maybe they didn't have a lick of sense between them, but they still didn't deserve to go like that. Chop down their god's house doesn't sit right with me. If you can get down there, find the remains, we can finally give them a proper burial. No small task. There's coins in it for you if you need motivating. Alice Cott's expression softens. A pleasant surprise to see that someone around here has a shred of respect for the dead. I'll find them. Then by the flame, I owe you a good turn. But listen, the temple's been sealed off for a long time. It's crawling with creatures. But if you get past them, the priests would have been down on the lower floor. They'll still be there if they're anywhere. Those priests had all kinds of secret chambers, switches in the walls, trick sconces, that sort of thing. Keep an eye out. And take care down here. I wouldn't want to have to send someone else after your remains. I'll wait here by the stairs and keep a lookout. Maybe try to patch myself up some. Alright. So I think I'm going to cut this off here, and in the next video we'll explore this temple a bit. Alright? So until next time, this has been Dansparce. Like, comment, subscribe, leave me any questions if you want to know anything. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, or Steam. Links are down below, and until next time, bye!